Hey everyone, I'm McDowell here with another YouTube video, and today I'm going to be doing my Stranger Things Season 4 review. Now, if any of you don't want to hear spoilers, this is a spoiler warning, so please, if you don't want to hear no spoilers about the Season 4, please click off the video as soon as possible. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let's try to get 1,000 subscribers. Thank you. So, Season 4 Stranger Things. It was basically probably the best one I've seen throughout the entire series. You know, I kind of like the entire series. How it's been almost like making a homage to both Steven Spielberg and Stephen King. You know, I hadn't seen much of Stephen King's movies besides it, and it basically was drawing inspiration from that, and also many other inspiration from different movies of the '80s, since it's basically an '80s nostalgia show. And there's nothing wrong with that, just as long as that even I can understand why everyone's obsessed with the '80s. But one thing for sure, you can say that the '80s got great motivation, some music to all of it. So the thing is, it was a great show. I like how it basically is almost like the first Star Wars movie. How it's like multiple stories in one season, or let's say multiple plot points. I mean, you got 11, you got Mike and his guys, and you got Max and her problem with her killing her brother off. Any of you don't know that this is basically a nostalgia show, basically showing about 11 being a girl who was a government guinea pig experiment, and was cooked up in the lab, separated from her mother, and basically was given these psychological powers. And in last season, season 3, she lost it trying to save the world twice. The thing is that she tried, I think, no, it actually, well, 3 times she tried to save the world. Saved the world 3 times in 3 seasons, and she lost her powers in the very last season in the mall, and she's been trying to recover that. In this season, she recovers her powers and goes a very dark turn on how she actually got her powers to begin with and how she strengthened them. What's been happening in Hawkins, which is where it takes place, Hawkins, Indiana, there's basically a big giant evil is coming around, and there's a reason why she got these powers was because of these about the orrery that was his name is Henry, who was originally in the first subject. So she goes by the name of Jane, but her name here is 11, like the number 11, and Henry is like number 1, so that makes him the top guy in the whole experiment. So in this season, Henry discussed about all the stuff that happened from season 1 all the way up to season 4. That's why it's a spoiler. It's basically everything that happened since season 1 is just because of Henry, who became a lot stronger than her and a lot more powerful. But you know, you gotta give the protagonist something to do in order to overcome any kind of evil, and that's the great thing. It's basically kid oriented, but it's good for everyone, good for teenagers, good for adults. And it's just like Cobra Kai. It's really good for the whole family. But it's really quite dark. I mean, if you don't like dark things, you shouldn't watch it. So that's up to you if you want to watch that kind of stuff. But Stranger Things and Cobra Kai are like the 2 main ones that I like, and it's what I watch most of the time. Can't wait for season 5 for Cobra Kai. So, anyways, giving it back to this season, excuse me, is that 11 is actually trying to get her powers. Max, who's the redhead in the story, was basically a real teenage angst in season 3 with her and her brother or stepbrother, whatever not. And the thing is, they've been facing a lot of abuse between her and her brother, and so she met this black kid named Lucas, who's part of the gang of Mike, Lucas, and Dustin and Will. They all basically a bunch of kids. They love Dungeons and Dragons. Never played it myself, but after seeing this show, I'm thinking about me playing myself at some point. But there's like this crew that they actually go around playing Dungeons and Dragons. Max is just basically this angst teenager from season 3. Comes out, meet Lucas, falls in love with him. They get to understand both their group and 11 and all that. And the majority of the shows has been mostly on her, because in last season, her brother, who was basically a bully, basically sacrificed himself to try to save her in the world, and by this big giant demon summoned by Henry, which we didn't know at that point. So the thing is, it's real quite awesome, really quite great series. And there's also this chief of police or chief sheriff Hopper, Jim Hopper. He basically been through a lot of stuff. He's one of those grumpy men who's saying back off before I arrest you kind of guys. And he's seen his arc coming throughout the entire series. First, he's just the chief of police, investigated all these different kidnappings and murders. You think of just local stuff, but sooner or later, he becomes more involved with this group, almost like family. And the thing is that in the last, he was somewhat allegedly was killed off. I didn't believe him because I didn't see nobody. I didn't see him die from it. So the thing that was basically portrayal to this next season. So he's seen in Russia in a prison, and he's tried. He of course when you're in prison you lose weight. In the previous season he was pretty fat, but we all go through that when we get older. I mean, we get fat, we get skinny, we get fat, we get skinny. You know, it's just life. So the thing is, he lost a lot of weight in prison, trying to get back to his love interest, which is Joyce, who is both Will and Johnson's mother. Both Will and Johnson are both brothers, and Joyce is played by Winona Ryder. So, and Hopper basically is trying to get out of this prison, and he is trying to get back and try to get his adopted daughter, which is 11, because he didn't have no, because his real daughter, died because she got some kind of cancer, and his wife left them. So Hopper was pretty broken, probably in the first 2 seasons until he adopted 11. So the thing is that he comes out of prison, reunites with Joyce, and both them and with these other kids like Nancy. She's like this. To me, she's almost like the Jennifer Grey, always trying to get herself into trouble, but real smart and stuff like that. You got all these different character arcs and character plot points. They all come together almost like I say, the very first Star Wars movie, the New Hope. George Lucas just say that he had like 3 different stories all clump up of one, different plot points, and all basically come together. They stop the greatest threat to save the world, and it's just a great season. I mean, it was just a great season to look at. And the thing is, I'm looking at it. I mean, if you have not seen the first 3 seasons, I suggest you go watch them first before you watch season 4, or at least binge watching on Netflix. So it's quite a great series. I thought it kind of a little bit was dulled down maybe in season 2, but it was just like a rehash of what happened before. You know, get to meet 11 again, and get to do her powers and stuff like that. And season 3, I just thought it might have been a little bit too bloated with all age nostalgia. And here's a little bit of age nostalgia because there's like this guy named Eddie Munson. He's like the founder of the head of the Hellfire Club. Basically, it's just a club like kind of like Star Wars franchise. It's a club for anyone who plays Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, the thing is, you gotta have a club for something, whether it be Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, or Harry Potter. I mean, we all go in and get in that kind of stuff. I mean, we're all kind of a little bit nerds, but respect the source material. I mean, we're big Batman nerds, so respect the source material from Batman. I mean, if you respect it, you're welcome in open arms in the community. So, any community that wants me to be welcome, I mean, that's okay. And but getting back to the series, that you get to see the different character arcs and the plot points, and in this one, that's where it all comes together. Everything that happened from season 1 till now is because of Henry, or they call it Necta or whatever. And the thing is that he's a lot more powerful. Basically, it's like Freddy Krueger. I mean, he comes into you when you least expect it and basically pull your entire soul out of you, and then basically source it all. And basically, it's like Freddy Krueger, and this Eddie Munson. He's caught in this mix, and he's basically been framed for murder. And the thing is that he's a real rocking guy. Both him and Dustin's like the chubby one, and he's good friends with him. I mean, he get along with him. Eddie basically at first is a coward because he runs away because he's freaked out. He don't know what's going on. The girl's flying in the air like she's possessed. I mean, everything is just out of it, basically just freaky if you do go through that. So the thing is, Eddie Munson, he runs, he comes to terms with it in the rest of this season. Plays a big rocking concert in a place what's called the Upside Down, and the thing is that he plays the I think it's the Masters of Puppet Master or Masters of Puppet from the Metallica. Never heard none of the music before, but heard of Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, some of those guys, but never Metallica. But he plays it real well. I'm not sure it was all him, but the thing is, he played real well. And there you get this big really rocket triumphant feeling that you don't want to beat the every crap out of evil. And that's what we all want to try to do. We all want to become heroes. But the one thing about heroes is that rule number one, don't ever run away from something. You want to be a hero, you got to run towards something. And the bad thing about in real life, if you try to run towards something, you're going to get killed. But that's where our tax dollars pay firemen and EMS and police. That's what we pay them for, to go run toward the danger, not want to run away from it. There's certain jobs where you're built for it, and there's certain jobs where you're not built for it. So the thing is, if you want to become a hero, you have to face the danger. If you really want to become a hero, you have to face the danger and commit to it. But the only problem is that you gotta be well informed. You gotta make sure you know how to think straight and think fast on your feet. Because it's not always going to be like sunshine and rainbows saying, hey, give me a medal here, I just said that you saved the world. No. You got to be prepared to actually run toward the danger and not actually be a coward for it. So, but don't ever start something. If you're basically a bully, don't try to start something saying you're a hero. If you're a hero, you run towards it. You try to defend the little guy. Try to defend the women. Defend the people who can't defend themselves. Either you see them, and they can't defend themselves, that's when you step in. If you think you're up to it. Just understand there's a lot of consequences that come to it. And Eddie Munson, at some point, he stops running, and he defends himself with a garbage can with a bunch of nails in it and a giant spear, and he got all these bats around him, and I mean, he gets killed, but the thing is, he goes through a lot just to try to, redeem himself. And so, I mean, hats off to that character. So, at the end of the day, with season 4, you get all these kids together. They save the world. Henry's been vanquished. I mean, he looks like the Swamp Thing, but he acts like Freddy Krueger. I mean, he gets weakened by her with her psychic powers and stuff like that. And then there's this big giant earthquake because he possesses Max. The only way how they figure out to get Max to come back to reality is by music. And at the end of the time, they were a little bit too late. She slipped us into a coma, and the thing is, the entire Hawkins town is having a massive earthquake, and people die, of course, and it just gets worse after that. To me, it's almost like No Man's Land from Gotham City. If you ever read the comic No Man's Land, check it out. So yeah, and there's like a big giant storm with red lightning and clouds coming at it. It ain't over yet. Season 5 is on its way, so hopefully the next season will be just as awesome, as spectacular as this one. Just hope they don't go pushing too much of the woke stuff. But other than that, I enjoy it. This is Al McDowell, signing off.